Do we all lie? All human beings? And is it okay to lie?
All people lie. The research varies. Some research says some people will lie 10 times within a conversation.
10 times? Like in one sentence or
It
in
can
a
be
30-minute conversation?
Hi, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Meanwhile, I just,
That's a lie.
had a fight with my significant other. So that would be a lie. Then also lying by omission is a big thing. People think that I have to say the lie for it to be a lie. But I can tell you a story and leave something out. That changes the context of the story. So now the story is not accurate. I mislead you. That is a lie. And actually the number one way people lie is by omission. Because most people don't like to lie. They're not comfortable with it. It's not natural to us. It's work. It's a lot of work. It's very hard.
Because you got to remember what you said too, right?
You got to remember it. You have to stick to it because you may have to repeat that lie again later in time. And it really is a credibility killer. It's just not worth doing. And so it's a lot of work to do cognitively. So it is actually easier to leave something out. I don't feel as bad. And then when you ask me, Louis, I say, I forgot to tell you that part.
And then you lose credibility.
If I lie like that, I may not lose as much.
Gotcha.
It's when people outright lie. And then, so you probably did some outright lies that I think
Did you do this? Yes or no? No, I didn't do it.
Or how about this? No, I didn't do it.
Yeah, right. No.
That's like one of the indicators when people say their body doesn't match what they say, so they'll say no, yes.
Yeah.
And so you'll see the body will do this, like the body's in conflict with what they're saying. It doesn't happen to everybody. It's everybody. Everyone is so unique and so different. And I think what popular culture likes to do is say everybody will do this, everybody will do that, and it's false. And there's no easy way to read people. It's work, it's studying the person, understanding human behavior, knowing that person, paying attention to their mannerisms. So like when I speak, I use illustrators when I speak. So if I'm telling you a story, I went here last night, I did this, I saw that. Now you ask me something, Evy, is this your favorite podcast? Which it is.
I don't know.
Right? But I start, I put my hands down and I change my mannerisms. Now I'm stoic. I'm not moving. In fact, people who do lie tend to move less, actually. Because I'm working. This is work.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, I'm focused. So there's all those indicators that do help you kind of filter out what's going on with the other person.
So using body language and being more expressive hides the lie if you are lying?
If you're usually, not all. Like I want to be, because some people that don't use a lot of maneuvers, they're always stoic.
Sure.
And so that's just what they are all the time. But if you have someone who is illustrative, who's always talking with their hands, and now you ask them a question that they're uncomfortable with, or they want to lie to you about, you'll see less movement in the body.
What would be 3 questions, if you could only ask 3 questions to a human being to figure out if they're telling a lie or telling the truth? How would you start those 3 questions? What would they be?
TED. T-E-D. Tell me, explain, describe. And then I would fill in the rest.
Tell me
what you did last night. Rather than, who did you go out with last night? Or were you with Sam last night? So tell me what you did last night. Explain to me how important this relationship is to you. Describe to me what you want in this business partnership. Those questions allow people to tell a story. So if you really want to read somebody, you want them to tell you a story. So the more I can get you to tell me a story, I hear you, I'm watching you, I'm getting your mannerisms down, everything. But then you're also telling me what is important to you, what is of value to you. And then when you do that, now I don't have to sit there and guess and figure out, how should I start my business pitch with Louis? You already told me the things you like, and so I can come in and speak to you in an intelligent way rather than trying to guess what to say. So ideally, when you start a conversation, and this could be for anything, it's not just catching a lie. This is really just trying to start a conversation. TED, T-E-D, tell me, explain, describe. You start big, you get people talking and telling you stuff, even though you're like, I want to know this specific thing. But if I ask the specific thing, this person's going to shut down on me. So I can't go straight for that. So what you do is you narrow it. You get closer, you go from vague to, more, accurate to more accurate to then in the end you get to that direct question because you've worked them to that point. So for example, if you had a case where somebody was murdered or killed, right? And you had a suspect, you wouldn't say, did you kill her? You would never say that. In fact, you wouldn't get there till like maybe 2 hours into the conversation. That's like you get there, it's over time because it's a serious thing. It's an ugly word. And I might not even say, did you kill her? Did you hurt her? Did you harm her? Did something happen? And I would get you, so I would never ask it that way. You get the person to give you admissions. Like, for example, yes, I was there. I was at the house. Or yes, I did this. You want them to give you a little bit. And then eventually you get more admissions.
Interesting.
You start to paint a picture. And then you never actually have to ask them, did you kill? They eventually tell you.
So you were at the scene. You were there at the same time. You were holding the knife.
They tell you all of it. But you walk them through that process. And so when you watch these TV shows or when you ask somebody a direct question and you want a direct answer and you don't get it, this is why. It's work. It's a lot of work to connect with people, read people. And I think that's why, and I think society makes it seem like do these 3 tricks and you'll have people eating out of your hand. And it doesn't work. It's not true. And this is why people struggle because they're looking for the easy way when it's really about human behavior. The person across from you, like understanding them, being curious. Curiosity is wonderful. So let them tell you stuff, ask questions because you're curious, and then you'll get more information rather than trying to go for like exactly what you want to know. And then the other thing too that helps with conversations is something called adaptability, which a lot of people don't have. Like if I have a conversation with you and I specifically want to know one thing, but you want to tell me a whole other story around it, people don't have the patience. And so like, no, we're talking about something else. Like stick to the topic. And when you do that, you break a rapport, you hurt the conversation. So a part of it is being patient. Let them take you a little bit on a journey, and then slowly you can bring them back to where you want. But sometimes we come in so rigid. No, I have to talk about this. This is the topic. And you're not able to adapt. So adaptability is allowing a person to take you where they want to go. Letting somebody sit in the driver's seat for a little bit.
So you're telling me when my girlfriend is arguing with me about one thing, but then doesn't want to address it and takes it around the playground of all these other conversations, I get to listen to all those things to get it back to where I want to go to.
Perhaps.
As opposed to say, babe, let's just focus on the problem right here.
Well, it sounds actually like your girlfriend is actually more of an identity-based person. So
what does that mean?
Okay, so there's instructional, there's identity. So if I'm talking to you and I want to tell you, you want to tell me basically, Evy, if you stop talking to this person, your life will be easier, right? Cut this person out of your life, right? And I'm like, no, I want to tell you how I feel. No, this makes me feel this way. This makes me feel that way. But you don't know. And you're just kind of like, all you have to do
is cut them out of your life.
Cut this person out of your life. Or all you have to do is this one thing, problem solved. You are instructional. Let's just get to the point. What do we got to do to fix it? 1, 2, 3, done. Identity is, I don't want to hear that. I want to take you on the journey with me to tell you how I feel. This person, or when we are in that space, this means this person just wants to tell you how they're feeling. They want to tell you about their identity. What's happening is about their identity. So she doesn't want your solution. She doesn't want you to tell you what to do. She wants you to listen to her. And so it's not even about solving it.
Right.
And so I think that's another place where we get stuck. We're like, here's the solution. And it's like, no, I don't want that. And you're like, but you're telling me you have this problem if you just do this. You're instructional, their identity.
What are you?
I'm typically instructional. I'm very like, just tell me what I need to know. I don't need to go through the circle. But when I speak to other people and I realize that their identity, or in that moment, they want to tell me this whole story, and I'm just like, dude, all we got to talk about this one little thing, problem solved. I let them go.
Wow.
If you have the patience. It depends what the topic is, but she's identity-based. So I think every time you talk with her, if you see that she's like not wanting to get to the point and figure out the solution, where she just wants to tell you about her feelings, how this makes her feel, or how this hurts her, or if it's about her identity, then that's what she's doing. It's not about the solution.
Whether you were in the Secret Service doing an interview or an interrogation, or in the real world now, I guess that is the real world, but after now, what are the social cues or psychological behaviors, body language, responses that people have before you take the polygraph test to know whether or not they're actually telling the truth? What are those few things that you would see? We talked about the body language. Are there other things that would happen, social cues or behaviors?
So it's interesting. Everybody would assume that the polygraph was the lie detector. Like, you just ask the question, come on in, have a seat, Louis, let's hook you up. Did you steal when you were a kid? Did you steal that gum, or did you steal that? And then it just tells me everything. And it doesn't really work that way. Like, typically the lie detector is the person. So you sit across from a person, you have a conversation. And as we're discussing something, let's say you're applying to the U.S. Secret Service. We'll make you a recruiter.
Okay, give it to me.
And so we're asking you all these questions about your education, your background, drugs, whatever it is. And let's say I say to you, Louis, did you ever steal anything? And so now I look at, are there any shifts or any changes? Do you change the direction?
No.
People are usually not that obvious, but you can see something, you can feel it. It's also feeling people. I think that gets dismissed quite a bit, that it's not just see, hear, it's like, it's also, you can feel another human being.
Energy, yeah.
You can, and it's intuitive, and we should allow that and listen to that more rather than shut that down. But it would be, if I would ask you that, I would hear the way you responded. Did you respond similarly to all the other questions the same way? Is your, let's say if I said, Louis, did you ever, I asked you all these other historical questions, and you're like, no. And then I say, Louis, have you ever stolen anything? Absolutely not. So now something like that, as small as that, I may mark that. I was like, okay, he said no for everything else, but here he said absolutely not.
Interesting.
Why is it a bit more emphatic?
He cares more about either protecting something or that it actually isn't the truth.
Maybe.
And he doesn't want that to be out of
But I will notice that it's different. That you did something different. Even if you, no. It could be a very subtle thing. Or you might not give me anything. There's some people, and I've had those people where it's just like,
poker face all the way through.
Some people, but I don't want to say they're professional liars, but some people, would come in, especially if it was a criminal case, and they're guarding the truth really hard, and you have to try to figure out what that is. Or some people come in and it's, I swear to God knows I would never do such a thing.
On my grave.
Those are usually red flags, unless it's a culture or a person who typically does it. If they always say, I swear to God, I swear to my mom, then it would be like, look, this is part of this person's natural language, or maybe in their culture, they refer to God quite a bit. But if it's not, and then you start doing that, then again, that's a red flag. So that's what you're really looking for, rather than we have some of these cookie cutter things. It's like, everybody does this, everybody does that. Now, are these things I'm talking about indicators? They are, but you may do them and I may not. I may do something else.
What do you do when you lie?
What do I do when I lie?
So we all lie at something, right?
We do. I do.
Small or big.
My husband's like, did you, have a donut this morning? No, I didn't have a donut.
What do you lie about the most? Professional or personal? And what in each category? Maybe
like if I'm mad. Because I have a pretty bad temper, so it's like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I'll because sometimes I'll know, I'm like, I have a temper, and sometimes I know I'm being irrational, and I don't want to open up a whole conversation, so I'll just be like, no, I'm okay. I'll leave it because I'll know it's me. I'm trying to think, what do I lie about? Maybe work. If it's a project I don't want to do, but usually that's what you have agents and managers for, because they do it for you.
Sure.
They shut it down for you. I'm trying to think. I mean, we all lie, but I try to keep it like, usually for me, it's like, because I'm like I like donuts and I like things, cookies, I like things.
Yeah,
so my husband's like a health fanatic. So he'll be like, how'd you eat today? I was like, oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
I was pretty solid, Oh, okay. So he'll know what I'm trying to say, for example.
Is there such a thing as a person being radically honest all the time?
No, I don't. I've not come across that. But I think, here's the thing. It's okay to lie because, have you ever been very, very, very honest, maybe with a person, and then felt afterward, you feel a bit exposed and you feel like, I wish I didn't share this much with this person. Afterward, you kind of have that remorse because we feel like it's a protection mechanism. I don't want to tell you everything about me. I don't want to be an open book. And so and it may not be a lie, so by omission. So in a meeting, if somebody's pitching me a project or I'm talking about something, I don't like it or I don't like the direction it's going, I may not say, I don't like this. I may say, thank you, let me think about that. Meanwhile, I want to say, no way, I'm not doing it. That's terrible. So that technically would be a lie. I'm like, you know what? Thank you. And let me think about that. Yeah. But I know I can't respond the first way. Shuts people down. That's why I feel like we hear people say no. Being able to say no to people more so because a lot of us have...
To protect your time, your space, and energy. Yeah.
And that's wonderful. But don't say no. Find other ways to say no. No is ugly. No is mean. No is hurtful. So I can say, thank you so much. I'll let you know. I'm not really sure if I'm able to. Let me think on that. Find alternative ways to let people down.
Why is that? Why not?
To preserve the relationship.
Because when you say no to someone, even if it's a friend, they might take it personally.
It stings. Right? Why are you saying no to me? Why do you have to say it like that? You can reject people in a thoughtful way, in a professional way. And it depends. Like, do you care about the relationship? And if you do, your hard no can hurt people's feelings. People become sensitive because you're rejecting them. And so I'm going to think of a different way to say no that's not going to impact you as much. It's really using language thoughtfully. So for example, you brought up lying. I love that. And you said, when I was a kid, I lied. So I would never say to you, Louis, you're a liar. Or Louis, you're lying to me. I would say, Louis, I know you're not being truthful with me. Louis, you're holding something back from me. Sounds different. So it's the same way with language. We throw our words out and we don't realize that they land on someone. Yeah. And so then we scratch our heads wondering, why did this conversation not go well? It's this person's the problem. When we don't have the ability to think about, how did I deliver this? So if it's a business relationship, that's important to you, but you want to say no to this, you want to think of a great way to say no. So we want to think about, how do we let people down without hurting their identity? Going back to identity.
Never take advice from anybody you wouldn't trade places with. Criticism is a form of advice, but you're afraid to tell people how to do stuff. So you just criticize what they do. Some people, and then it becomes an addiction for some people. Criticism is not a great behavior. I know you've heard the phrase, nobody's doing better than you will ever criticize you.